Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Sellerboard Show. My name is Vladi Gordon. My today's guest is Kirsty from Real Coaching, and we're going to talk about Kirsty's path as a seller and about 4 common mistakes Amazon sellers make. Whether you're a new seller or experienced seller, you're going to learn something. This was really valuable. And Kirsty mentioned a lot of hacks and tricks. So I really hope that you're going to be inspired and will be able to apply some of this stuff to your business. Before we start, check out our software, sellerboard.com. It's our profit analytics service for Amazon sellers with a bunch of additional tools, and the pricing starts at $19 a month. So make sure you check out our free trial. The link is in the description. And now let's start the show. Hey, Kirsty, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you going?
Good, thanks. The same studio as always. It doesn't change too much these days. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, Kirsty. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm originally from England, and as you can probably tell by the accent, but I moved to Australia when I was kind of in my late 20s, and I love Australia. It's an absolutely amazing place, and a lot more sunnier than England. You get
Mm-hmm.
you get a lot more sun. Um, and I had a corporate background, so I worked on brands like Sensodyne toothpaste, Aquafresh toothpaste, Durex condoms, Pedigree and Whiskers, lots of different brands to basically build them to household names, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that job. I mean, I absolutely loved the kind of nitty gritty of it in terms of really understanding the customer and being able to build awesome marketing campaigns. But the problem is, as you go up the ladder in an organization, and maybe a lot of people can, relate to this who's listening, you don't get to do any of the cool stuff anymore. You just kind of do a lot of the middle management, right? So you've got an awesome team that you're trying to manage, and then you've got managers who you're trying to manage, and you just kind of get sandwiched in the middle. And I'm the type of person that has a lot of ideas. And when I feel that we're going in the wrong direction, I want to be able to say that freely. And a lot of corporate environments, you're kind of strangled in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got to that point and I was like, okay, this just doesn't sit with who I want to be as a person. Also, my big passion is travel. And, I just wasn't getting to do any of it because I was actually, stuck in this role that I felt like was kind of, I had to be the one that was holding it all together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to just look for something different. So it took me about 2-3 years before I actually found Amazon, but I tried lots of different things. I tried real estate. I tried eBay, actually. I tried share trading.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got no idea how to do that, but I tried, I bought all these courses. And I actually read the 4-hour work week, which I think for a lot of people is a pivotal point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, oh, okay. So really, to be able to do what I really want to do, I need to kind of design a business that's going to help me with the lifestyle rather than how much money I'm going to make. So that's how I kind of started out to think, well, how do I get a business model that is actually going to give me that versus what product, what kind of products am I going to sell? What kind of services can I do? Or what kind of houses can I flip or whatever? And
So,
so
so what year was it? When did you start with
I
Amazon?
started in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I started
Wow.
looking
Mm-hmm.
in 2011, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
But it was 2013 when I went for the Amazon thing. So yeah, like I said, I started all those other things. I was working full time, but there was always a problem with those models. It meant that I had to be physically in the spot, or it was too up and down. It was too risky, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't going to give me a predictable income that I
Mm-hmm.
knew I could work with. So I then started to look at online e-commerce, and I built websites. I was selling ClickBank products.
Mm-hmm.
It worked to a point, but it was just before, and this is showing how old I am now, right? But it was just before that whole Penguin, was it Penguin or something
Yeah.
like that update?
Some bird.
And yeah, so I kind of bought a course that was around doing it before that. And I was like, oh, crap. So I'm going to have to completely redo this. And then just being on someone's list, I got an affiliate link for someone's, and it was actually ASM. So I was part of ASM 1, which then there were no tools, there were no, there was no real strategy. It was just like, hey, we can sell some stuff on Amazon. Let's go and do it. So that's what I did. And I bought the course and I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense, because I think I tried all that other stuff. I knew what I didn't want, right? I knew what wasn't going to work, but I knew the core elements of what should work. And I'd worked on products, I bought products, my job, developed products, branded them, and sold them for the higher price than what I actually bought them for, right? So I knew that kind of worked. And so I wasn't scared of sourcing or anything like that, because even though I'd done it in a corporate role and had a massive team that were doing it, the process wasn't scary. So it just kind of made a lot of sense. And so what I ended up doing was, because I'd spent so much time thinking about this thing, I actually ended up negotiating what we call a redundancy from my role. And I'd been there for like 10 years. So I actually got a year's pay and I was on a good salary. So I was like, it gave me a nice cushion. And I was like, right, I'm just going to do this. I'm the type of person, it's like, if I know I've got like a foot to go back, like a little toe in the water to go back to, I'm probably not going to do it. So I'm like, I've just got to go on and do it. And so I took the redundancy and I actually moved to Bali to live the lifestyle that I actually wanted to lead, even though I didn't have the lifestyle yet, if you know what I mean. It was also cheaper to live. And I wanted to kind of break that momentum from, I've got still my friends and everything, but I knew I'd end up probably falling back into the routine of going out with them, talking about the same problems, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I need a total break from that. I need to kind of get my brain space into something else. So that's what I did. So I started the business. I got my first product going. And I actually never saw the product because I was in Bali. So I just kind of picked something. I was like, yeah, that's cool. It looks good. And off we go. And then I gave myself a goal of getting to $6,000 a month before I went back to Australia. And I did that in the first 6 weeks. And so I was like, oh my God, this thing's going to work, right? This is so
when was it? Do you remember?
What was it?
When was it? What year was it?
Yeah, it was 2013. It was October. Okay. I still remember my first sale. It was 22nd of October, 2013. Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right. Yeah. And what was it? Can you tell us?
It was a jump rope. So what I decided to do was, because I'd been in the branding space, and this is actually one of the core areas I think that people miss, is there's so much you can sell, right, on Amazon. There's so much. And I think people are so freaked out or worried about what's the product? What is the product that's going to make me a millionaire? Or what's the product that's going to get me what I want? And I had the mindset of, I don't think one product's going to get me there, because I hadn't had any precedent, right? There was nobody stood on stage saying, hey. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to focus on something that I like. I'm going to build a brand around that. I'm going to focus on a customer that I could relate to. And I'm going to look for something small, light, cheap, because I gave myself a budget of $2,500 for my first product in terms of getting the first order in and everything. And I was like, yeah, if I lose $2,500, I'm not going to be that bothered, right? So that's kind of that was the mindset that I kind of put in place. And so I decided to go into the CrossFit niche. I was into, fitness, efficient fitness, and I kind of, enjoyed that mindset of, these people will want more stuff to help them perform better. And so that's what I built a brand around is that. And so I looked then for products that would fit that ideal customer. And what that helps you to do is, right at the beginning, is to filter out all the other stuff that you could sell on Amazon, right? Because there's so many people that they spend years, like literally, I've met people, they've bought a course and 2 years later, they still haven't picked a product because they're like, I'm still looking. So if you narrow that search down right from day one, you are going to find some opportunity within that niche, right?
Do you think that still works? Because, obviously things changed a lot since 2013.
Yeah, absolutely still works. We work with people every day that we do this process with. Because then the next phase is not necessarily just the idea, the client, right? It's, okay, what are the numbers behind the product? And I think that's where my background came in handy as well, is because as part of my job, I had to present numbers that made sense to the board. That meant, yeah, we're going to make profit. We're going to get cash flow from this, depending on what the objective is, right? And so when you're first starting as a seller, you want to have something that's going to make you a profit. You want to have something that's going to bring you cash back quickly so you can reinvest it back into the business. I mean, you still want that no matter what stage you're at in the business, but you just get more different problems as you move through, right? And you want to be able, it needs to be within your budget, right? You don't want to take massive risk right at the beginning because you could end up blowing all your cash. So you want to take a calculated risk and you want to base it on a target. You want to base it on a sales target, not just, hey, I'm going to stick this on Amazon, hope I'm going to sell 100 units because Jeff said he sold 100 units over here. And so, you know, we work with tools like, you know, market research data tools that you can base estimates and targets off, that you can base assumptions around, that essentially gives you something to aim for, and you're working numbers out based around the marketplace, based around your competition. And so you know exactly how much money you're going to make even before you've launched the product. And one area I didn't do it in the beginning because Amazon advertising actually didn't exist, or it was just kind of coming in. But one thing that we really focus on now as well is, what are your core keywords that you're going to launch with, so that you can understand that if they're too expensive or not for you to actually make your rankings work and all that other stuff, especially when you first start out. So yeah, that's, you know, picking the niche helps you narrow, but then the numbers really do the work in terms of what products you're going to sell. So
Kirsty, this was basically what happened since 2013. Are you still a seller now, or you know, I know you're a coach, so tell us a bit about this.
Yeah, so within the first 8-10 months, I'd made $1 million, not made $1 million, I hadn't taken out $1 million, but I got to $1 million in sales on Amazon. I launched two products, and my strategy at that point was to diversify into different marketplaces. So rather than have tons and tons of products in one market, because I think I'd worked in a global business, it just kind of made sense. I was like, oh yeah, well, if it sells here, it should sell over there. And so that's what I did. I expanded quite quickly. And what that allowed us to do is actually double the business very, very easily, especially in the second year, because we were kind of launching two things all at once.
Where were you selling? In the US, I assume?
Originally in the US, and then I moved directly to the UK, and then I actually got contacted by someone in Germany because they were just figuring out the German platform at that point. And so I launched into Germany pretty quickly as well. So I had the 3 markets going. And then since then, I did kind of branch out into like Italy and Spain and France. But for me, specifically in my business, the numbers just weren't working out. So I've kind of like brought it back down, but also in Canada as well. Canada's a kind of a great market right now as well. So especially with lockdowns, right? Everybody's buying stuff online, and Amazon's having, you know, now living in Canada, it's really the only place you can get anything from that comes in a decent time frame. So it's kind of a cool place to look at in terms of expansion right now. So yeah, that was my strategy, is to do that. And you know, since then I've sold over $20 million in e-commerce. And I really work at a 20% net margin. So that's one thing that we really focus on with our clients, is to build that business so that you've got a very healthy net margin, which is your costs after everything in the business, even when you've built a team and your advertising costs and all that.
So basically it's the money which you take home, which you take out of the business and can spend, right?
Yeah, exactly.
20%. Sounds good.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's one thing I think, because I needed to secure my income quickly because I didn't have a job, right? I mean, I had this nice buffer. But that's another area that we really focus on with people now, is to start with the income goal that you want, not just, I want $1 million in the bank, or, you know, I want to leave my job. Well, yeah, that's a goal, but you need to figure out what's the money you need. And then you work the product numbers back to the income that you want to make. And you do that before you even put any money down on any product. And so you've got a plan before you even, like, you know, fork any money out.
So Kirsty, what's your focus now? Is it about more about coaching or selling, or both?
Both really, because my Amazon business is pretty hands-off. You know, I've got a team there that essentially do pretty much everything I need to do. I like to keep things simple. So I just rinse and repeat what works, right? There are a lot of shiny objects, I call them shiny objects out there that, you know, essentially you can diversify into different channels. But it's a whole new business model, right? And you know, maybe I want to sell the business one day, but right now what it does is it just actually brings cash flow back through to me without me having to do very much for it. So that's kind of my focus right now. And the coaching side for me is more rewarding because I've kind of figured out the Amazon stuff. So the coaching side is more rewarding because for us, we can get results very quickly for people. We can diagnose, you know, a lot of, especially when you're an existing seller, you're probably on the cusp of greatness. You just got a few leaky buckets in the business that you're not aware of. And so we're able to plug those pretty quickly. And then we're also able to mine some of the gold that people are already sitting on.
So let's talk about some mistakes. I know, you know, you were talking about it in some other shows. So yeah, what are the typical mistakes an Amazon seller which you encounter, you know, and how to fix them?
Yeah. So the first, I mean, we kind of touched on it, but definitely the first one is the product selection piece. You either spend too much time because you're fearful that you're fearful it's not going to work. Are you fearful you're going to lose all your money, right? So number one, a lot of people don't even start. And the reason they don't start is because they don't understand the numbers behind the product. Now, the people that do start, they don't take into account all the hidden costs that come with launching the product. So like we said, once you launch the product, you actually need to, number one, launch it, obviously. You need to invest in that launch, right? You can't just stick it on Amazon and hope for the best. And you need to maintain it. And so that all costs money. And it also, you need to understand how much it's going to cost before you actually launch the product. And so that's an area that we really look into. Like I said, aiming for a target, first of all, then make sure that you've got really good profit margin. Now, from that, what I mean is it's not 20% gross margin. For us, it needs to be at least 40% gross margin so that you've got 20% to play with in terms of your ad costs and things like that.
So how do you do this? Like my experience is, you know, Amazon has gotten really competitive after all these years. So it's kind of hard to pick a niche with a high margin. I mean, some guys are also saying, you know, we're not going to compete on the price. We're going to build a premium brand, right? But the problem is so many people are trying to build a premium brand, right? So there's a competition on premium brands as well. And so yeah, is it still possible? And how do you find such a product?
Yeah. So what we do is we have parameters. So I like to, when we're doing our first original market research piece, we're looking for products that are doing over $20,000 a month, right, in terms of sales. And so that's kind of a parameter to aim for, because usually the numbers kind of work out to be, we want to aim for at least $3,000 profit per product per month, right? So we're not expecting, you know, one product to give us $50,000 a month. We're expecting one product to give us maybe $10,000 a month and $3,000 profit, right? Or $40,000 gross margin. Sorry, $4,000 gross margin. Because then we know at 20%, we're going to take $2K for ourselves. So just look at first for those types of products. And we want to be looking for something that's not below $10, right? $10 in price. So we found a kind of sweet spot tends to be over that $10 mark and the $30 mark, between $10 and $30. Because what that means is that generally the products are less expensive for you to buy, but there's still enough margin that you know you can take within that price point range. And then we have a target price. So we actually work all the numbers out to a 40% margin. And then we go to our sourcing, and we actually use sourcing agents. So we use agents on the ground in China who can negotiate better probably than what we can, right? And we say, here's what I want, and here's my target price. Here's the price I want to pay for this product. Landed. So they then go out and do all the hard work and do all the negotiation. of course, you've still got to test the quality of the product. You've still got to make sure that it's not, they can give you a price and then it falls apart, right? So you want to get samples, you want to be able to test it, you want to do all that inspection stuff. But by having that target price already in place, making the numbers work, you can find products that will meet that target. And we don't launch anything that doesn't meet that financial target. So
how do you probably there's competition in all niches, meanwhile, on Amazon, right? So you're not going to find a niche which is really empty. So, unless it's something that's not selling, right? Yeah. So how do you deal with those competitors? Okay, you found a product which is doing 20K in sales. That sounds good. But it might happen that you launch a new one and it just doesn't sell and you don't make it into this first search result page.
Well, the next phase is then, before you even put the product down, before you put the money down on the product, is to then look at, well, what's it going to take me to be able to be competitive, right? Mm-hmm. So that obviously, price we've already dealt with, but what are the keywords that I need to mine, if you like, mm-hmm. to be able to get me certain volume that meets my sales target, mm-hmm. right? And so if you do it that way, what you're doing is you're kind of reverse engineering the launch process. You're going to understand the costs it takes mm-hmm. to be able to, and then you're also going to look at your competition and see where their gaps are, mm-hmm. what they're not already doing.
So is it are you basically saying there's always a way to launch? It's just a question of money? Even if I
wouldn't say it's just money, it's also strategy. So what you're trying to do is to find an Achilles heel mm-hmm. in the competition that's already there. So mm-hmm. they might be doing a lot of volume. There might be page one for top keywords, but are there any other keywords out there that mm-hmm. they're not ranking for that you can rank for, but that will still give you decent volume that will make your numbers work, mm-hmm. right? So they tend to be cheaper keywords. They tend to be less competitive space. And then once you've got those keywords flowing and you've got enough profit margin, you can then go for the higher keywords mm-hmm. as long as it works with the numbers. So understanding how much those top keywords cost, then it becomes a cost game and an investment game. But as long as you understand, as long as you've got that margin and you've got that that free reign, if you like, and you know that, then you can spend more than your competition.
What do you think about reviews, actually?
I don't worry about reviews. Mm-hmm. I don't worry about reviews at all anymore. One part of our launch strategy is very, very simple, right? Just go out with a red hot price when you first start. Start to get, make sure that your listing stands out versus everyone else. That's a key area that a lot of people, they just feel like, yeah, I've done my listing. I did it based on some training that I got, but not a lot of people actually go back and review their listing. How does it look mm-hmm. versus the competition? How does that main image stand out versus everyone else on the page? What's going to draw the eye? And so we really focus hard on getting high conversion rates, and we like to be at least over 20% conversion, but ideally, over 30%, over 40% conversion rates.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That's where the marketing comes in. So if you've got your niche very, very clear about who you're talking to, what they want, how do they feel, how are they going to feel when they use your product, then all that can be brought into, the types of images you're going to create, the types of bullet points, the types of A+ content, the types of video you might make, right, to stand out versus everyone else. And that's kind of where the marketing bit comes in. But yeah, you want to have a listing that really stands out so that people are going to click on you versus everyone else. A simple trick for that is literally, one thing we like to do is differentiate through color. Now, people mm-hmm. kind of get a bit freaked out. They're like, yeah, but all my competition's black, right? All right, well, what are your brand colors? So in my case, my brand colors were black, red, silver. Mm-hmm. And so I made all my products, regardless of whether the customer told me they wanted one or not, I made mm-hmm. them all red, because mm-hmm. in the category, everything was black. And so mm-hmm. just by making that, it stands out straight away.
Nice.
And then orienting, the image. If everybody's looking one way, you can just literally flip the image or just make it different. And then what we like to do is just take a screenshot of page one search results, try some different main images, and just, what you do, copy and paste it onto somebody else's listing. So, and just ask someone which listings stand out mm-hmm. on this page. You want everyone obviously to go, yeah, that one, which is yours, right? And so that's even before you've even put the listing up, but you can just literally do a screenshot, pop the different types of images that you want to test out and see which pops.
That's an interesting idea. I've never heard about this approach. Nice. Yeah, you can kind of test the conversion before you're actually on Amazon. You can use some tool or a Facebook poll or something like Pigfood. That's interesting. So yeah, tell us about the next mistake. Okay, we talked about selection, also a little bit about standing out, but still, what's the next biggest mistake?
Yeah, so I think the next one is we talked about in terms of building a brand, right? So we kind of touched on that, but a lot of people tend to think, what's a product that's going to sell well, and then just go, okay, that's brand number one. Okay, let's do brand number two. And then when we talk to people, we're like, okay, so how many products have you got? They go, oh no, I've got 5 brands. What? How is that? And what they've actually done is just launch 5 different products, right? But called them brands. And the problem with that is that you get overwhelmed very, very quickly, because what we've just been talking about in terms of standing out, you have to then understand those core clients for each of those different types of products. You're not actually building a real branded business. You're just launching disparate products that will get you some money and it will, churn, but it's going to be churn and burn. You're going to get overwhelmed. And also, if you don't want to build a business to sell one day, most people that want to buy a business want to buy a branded business.
Yeah.
Also, you want to keep that customer. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot easier to sell to the same person with something else that you're going to bring in that they want, right? And so I think the core mistake is for everything around the business is people are always very stuck on the short term, and they don't start with the long-term goal of what they actually want their business to be.
Actually, this is what happened to me when I was a seller. So I started like one product, and obviously you need a brand for your first product, right? And then I kind of didn't think I should build a brand, or I wasn't even sure I can build a brand, right? I thought, okay, what worked for me was just picking a product by numbers. So I'm gonna do this 20 times, and I'm gonna be a millionaire. So, but as you said, I got totally overwhelmed. So I wasn't thinking about customers or target group or marketing. So that I wasn't even managing the suppliers, because it was just too much time. I had like 15, 20 different products, different suppliers, constantly different quality problems. And, so this overwhelmed me completely. And the listings, I was just happy when a product was out there, and I didn't ever to take a look again. So yeah, I'm completely with you. And I think at the end of the day, most of my products kind of died, so some of them were profitable, some were not, but at the end, I had a couple of products left which were profitable, and this was something like a brand. So out of all those brands, I had one left.
Yeah, and it's funny because one thing we say is, because we know that people fall in love with products, right? Because you have this idea and you're like, this is the thing, right? This is the one that's going to be the one type thing. But then, like you said, if it doesn't work, a lot of people then are so emotionally attached that they can't get rid of the product. And so what we say is, build your brand, fall in love with the brand, like what it stands for, who you're serving. And then the product, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, it's not hitting your targets, you can easily get rid of it, right? So we say, your product's not like your kids. You can actually get rid of them when they're annoying you. So you can, do that very, very quickly. And another mistake we see people time and time again is they feel like they're differentiating their products or launching new products by launching variations, new colors, and the classic is, my customer said, I'd love it if it was in green, or I'd love it if it was in beige or whatever. But the problem is that if you don't have a real reason for being for a product, then all you're doing is diversifying the sales that would have come on that one product. And not only are you diversifying it and diluting it, you're actually losing sales, because a lot of people go on, they'll have a look around and they don't really know which one to choose. And so they'll leave and just go and buy something else that's a lot simpler for them to make a choice on, right? They're not sat there going, this is such an awesome product, and I've been waiting for this my whole life, and I really want to understand the core benefits between these ones and they're just like, all right, what do I want? Too much choice. I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
So that's another area where a lot of people come to us. They've kind of tied up a lot of money in inventory on products that are not selling through. And so it has to have a very, very core reason for being. If anybody's in this position, what you should do is look at the sales of each of your variants. And I would guarantee there's one variant that will probably bring in 90% of the sales. Mm-hmm. So get rid of the rest. Like, don't just think, yeah, but the pink one's really good. No. Just get rid of all of them. And then usually what happens is even that one SKU gets more sales because it's mm-hmm. not being diluted with everything else.
Yeah, sure. So sometimes like you would pick a gray one. If there's a dark blue one, you start thinking, okay, maybe I should get this one. Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah.
Because we actually worked with a guy who was doing really well. I mean, he was doing 150,000 a month. And he had 2 colors of each of his products. And I was like, okay, well, how much are you actually, tying up in that? Like, let's just add it up. How much are you spending each month on these products? And also he was getting long-term storage fees because one wasn't selling as mm-hmm. well as the other one. Mm-hmm. So we just kind of added up the opportunity cost of getting rid of it mm-hmm. or keeping it. And so we did that. And then what he did was to say, well, let's just take that money and you can probably launch another 4 products mm-hmm. with the cash that you've got tied up in those products. Mm-hmm. And that's what he did. And he kind of doubled his business in 6 months because he had the cash flow. It was already, and that's what I mean about the hidden gems in your business that you're not probably aware of. Because just sell out the product, don't order anymore, get that cash out and launch products with actual core benefits and then differences.
Cool. I've never, actually, it was never clear to me, never talked about this to anybody on this podcast. So guys, don't launch too many variants, think about the variants. Nice.
Unless it's got a core reason, like if it's sizing, right? Mm-hmm. But another key thing to do with sizing is to go, can I make something that's adjustable, mm-hmm. which can obviously lower your costs, but then also it's different, right, from everyone else. It makes the choice a lot simpler. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I can get one for me and I can adjust it. It doesn't matter if it's a perfect size or not. I know this because I've done it myself. I've got a weight belt and I've launched different sizes, and then I get a bad review if they pick the wrong size. Now it's kind of mm-hmm. the customer fault, right? They've picked the mm-hmm. wrong size for them, but then they just give you a 1-star review because it didn't fit. Mm-hmm. And so you kind of like open yourself up to all these bad review prospects, if you like, and it's no fault of the product. It's just the choice. You're making it harder, right, for the customer to choose.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. Of course, sometimes you don't know which size you need, right? So
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so what's the next one?
I would say, we touched on this, but in terms of conversion rates, now you would be amazed at how many people don't even know what a conversion rate is. So mm-hmm. if you actually go onto your Seller Central dashboard, it's unit session percentage, right? So if people are sitting there going, what is my conversion rate? I don't know. I was actually talking to someone the other day, they have 5 products and they didn't know what a conversion rate was. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, let's have a look at that. And if your conversion rate is definitely less than 20%, start there first before you even worry about Amazon sponsored ads or anything like that, right? Mm-hmm. Because you can double your business. If you've got a 10% conversion rate and you doubled it to 20%, you've literally doubled your business, right? Mm-hmm. So a conversion rate means anyone landing on your listing, are they going to buy it or not? How many people buy it? And so for that, what you need to do is really focus on your images. And one thing we like to do is you've got your ideal client sorted, you know who they are, you've got the product. What makes that product? Why do they want to buy your product over everyone else? How do they feel when they use your product? And come up with the core benefits around that, right? So a lot of people tend to focus on the feature of the product. Mm-hmm. So like this has got, 3 cameras in the back and a very hard glass surface, right? So that's a feature. But what does that mean? Well, I'm a total klutz and literally this is my other phone, which has got like a massive crack in it. And, I've basically, I think I've changed the screen on this 4 times, right? So it's like, stop spending money on broken screens, right? Mm-hmm. That would be a benefit mm-hmm. of the feature. Mm-hmm. And so the more you get really focused on this the easier it's going to be to sell people, because people don't want to buy features. They want to buy how is it going to make my life better?
Yeah.
Write those things down and then literally storyboard out what an image would look like for each of those benefits. And you'll find that customers, they don't have to think. They're literally looking at your listing. They just have to scan it and they're like, yeah, that's the one. They're talking to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so your listing is like an ad. It's like you watch TV ads, you see magazine ads, you see online ads, whatever. It's literally an ad that you're putting in front of a customer. So the more time you spend there, the more effective your ad campaigns are going to be, right? Because the more relevant traffic you're going to bring in, the more they're going to convert on that traffic, rather than shoving a load of traffic to your listing that doesn't convert. So always look at your metrics. Where is the problem in my sales right now? Is it a conversion problem, so the unit sessions percentage, or is it a traffic problem, which is a sessions, a number of sessions per day? And look at it per day, and then look at it per month. Don't look at it over the last 12 months. That's not going to tell you anything, right? And so by focusing on those two core metrics, conversion first, get your listing right, then you can look at sessions. And we like to aim for at least 100 sessions a day. If you're not getting that, then there's either a problem with your main image. There's probably a problem maybe with your pricing. Are you more expensive than everybody else in the category? And also you're not driving traffic through, say, Amazon sponsored ads, right? And so, but get your conversion right first before you spend any more money on ads.
So you mentioned 20%, right? Can you talk more about this? So what's a bad I thought like 10% is a normal conversion on Amazon, but like what's...
Well, 10% might be normal, but it's not. You can easily get 20% conversion by just making a few tweaks, like I talked about there, right? That's our benchmark, 20%.
Okay.
Anything over that is freaking amazing, right? But you can definitely get that. I have products that do 50%, 60% conversion.
Oh my God.
A lot of our people do as well. Yeah, because the reason, if we go right back to when I first started, the reason I probably focused on that was because I didn't understand Amazon ads. I didn't really understand ranking, right? I was like, okay, what do I know? I know the customer and I just need to get a sale. So if I can put my effort into that, I don't need to outsource anything. I just need to focus in on the core conversion factors. So number one, obviously we talked about the listing, but also your pricing is a great conversion factor, because especially when you first start out. And then also your reviews, as you said, if you've got anything less than a 4-star, then, or in your category, if everybody's got 4.5 and you've got 4, you've got a conversion problem. You'll have a conversion problem. If you're $30 more expensive than anyone else and you can't demonstrate why you're that more expensive, then you'll have a conversion problem as well, right? So you have to think about all those core elements within the conversion factor.
So pricing, I definitely understand, like reviews, agree, pictures, probably this is the most important part of the listing. So do you feel like there's anything else in the listing which is important? Because when I'm shopping on Amazon, I normally I don't read, I never actually read the description unless it's something super technical. But title and pictures and reviews and prices, this is it. But do you feel like there's it makes sense to optimize something else, bullets?
I'd still think it's great to optimize your bullets, because even as a process, it gets you clear on what the core benefit is. And then you can translate that into images. So there's going to be some people out there that are like you, and I'm like that as well. I'm a visual person. Right? Just show me what it is, and awesome. But there are also people that are very more detail focused, and so they want to read every little line, right? And then also your A+ content. I think it's important to stand out versus your competition, to look like a high-level brand, right? So even a lot of people go, yeah, but I'm just like rebranding this from China. So what? That is the majority of products out in the marketplace. That's what massive brands do. They don't make new stuff really. So that's how you have to think of yourself, a big brand. How do I want my brand to look to my ideal client? And so it's like putting on a ball gown, right? Or like getting dressed up to go out for dinner versus the person that's just going to rock up in the shorts and t-shirt, right? That's the kind of thing that you're comparing yourself to. So just think best dressed, best benefits, connect well with the customer. And then I think another area is, and it's hard to do it on Amazon, right? Because we're limited in terms of customer service, but just giving an awesome experience to the customer on the back end. Just send that one email, like make sure that you've got a great tone of voice, talk to the customer how they want to be talked to, not like a marketer, not like a business owner. Hey, I've seen emails where they're like, I'm starting my own business and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, so make sure you give me a review. Well, they don't care if you're a small business owner or not, right? It's like, what's in it for them? So whenever you feel like you're writing copy or you're writing things and it's change it to you. And that really helps you connect with who the customer is.
You would recommend using a follow-up email tool, obviously, right? Or does it?
Yeah, we usually,
work?
in terms of getting reviews now, it's so easy, right? It's a lot easier than what it was like 2 years ago. So you can use the request a review button, which I do every single time. I usually have something for the customer that I want them to get a better experience from. So it could be just like a PDF or something like that. But yeah, we would do that. We would send it to the customer. But it's not necessarily about getting something from them. It's more about just saying, hey, here's a surprise and delight. And talk to them in the language that they want to be talked to. It just kind of rounds off the process. And then, of course, you can do things like in the actual product itself, with inserts and things like that, where you can actually get them to sign up for something. Even a warranty still works, right? Even on a $10 product, people will sign up for a warranty. So if they do that, and then you can communicate with them more about when you've got new products coming out and things like that.
Cool. All right. So have you got any more mistakes? So we have 3 now. At least I wrote down 3. Yeah. Go ahead.
And yeah, I think the last one would be getting off Amazon. So a lot of people, they've just started their business, right? Or maybe they've been doing it for a few years, but it's not where they want it to be. So what do? They go, oh, I need to get off Amazon because Amazon's shutting everyone down. Amazon takes all my money, all this other stuff, right? And generally it's because either you don't really understand the terms of service, or you don't understand how the traffic on Amazon works. And what you tend to do then is go, great, I'm going to learn how to run Facebook ads. I'm going to learn how to run Instagram ads. I'm going to do Instagram influencers. I'm going to do YouTube videos. I'm going to do Google ads. And so all of a sudden you've got this massive long list of stuff that you feel you need to do to be successful on Amazon. Spend lots of money on courses, spend lots of time. And like I said earlier, it's a whole new business model, right? Also Shopify, I need to build my Shopify store. Okay, so what are you going to do with that Shopify store? Well, yeah, of course, I'm going to build it. And guess what? All these floods of traffic are going to come automatically and buy my stuff. Well, it kind of doesn't work that way, because you have to drive traffic. They have to trust you. You have to have a lot of margin in your products, because the conversion rate, we just talked about 20% on Amazon. The best conversion rate has ever been recorded is like 3% on a Shopify store. So people either do it too early, or they do it with no clear plan in place and no investment. And so I would say, if you're ever thinking about doing that and you haven't got at least, I would say even a $10 million business on Amazon that's paying you predictably every month, and you get into that stage, then don't even think about going off of Amazon.
So $10 million revenue or sales per year.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much opportunity on the platform. And I understand that people get nervous about just being on one platform. But there are ways to overcome that nervousness. And by diversifying in different marketplaces with different products, that type of thing. The reason is if you can really master how to invest in your launch and rank on Amazon, and master Amazon sponsored ads, you will have a cash flowing business that pays you out every month, and that brings you not only your money, but also money to reinvest back into the business. And once you get comfortable that you can do that on autopilot, you've got a team that can do it, then you as the CEO can think, okay, how am I going to add another stream to my brand to build it even bigger? But when you're trying to do too many things all at once, you're spinning too many plates, you're just not going to master anything. And that's when a lot of people give up, is they've wasted all their money and they've kind of like wasted all their time, they're tired, they're grumpy, and they don't have anything to show for it. So don't be too eager to get off Amazon, I would say, is the mistake, the biggest mistake, I think, which people make a lot.
I've talked to a lot of sellers actually about this, and yeah, my impression is it's very hard to build revenue off Amazon, right? So normally, even for the most successful ones, it's a relatively small share, right? But like if you would, if somebody would want to go off Amazon, what would be your first platform of choice, or marketplace?
I'll be looking at somewhere that's got e-commerce already built into it, right? Because that's the thing. If you think about the customer journey, it's where is a customer most likely to be in a buying situation, right? And so obviously there's Facebook, but a lot of people don't go on Facebook to buy stuff. They go on Facebook to understand stuff, right? So in terms of making people aware of a problem or making people aware of, I don't know, like a condition or something like that, maybe having a group page that's all about the collective that you're all interested in might be a great way to start building a community. And then from there is to build that trust within a community to then be able to eventually get them on an email list that you can sell stuff to, right? So that might be one way of doing it. Direct would probably, Google ads are probably the best because, it's Google shopping. People actually shop on Google. Like they go there to get inspiration, they go there to shop. And so that direct sales, I would think, was probably the best one to think about there. Building communities and building brands, probably Facebook, because everybody pretty much uses it. And you're able to build communities.
Nice. Kirsty, thanks so much. So tell us, where can people find you?
Yeah, sure. So I have Real Coaching. So I'm the co-founder of Real Coaching with Isaac Kuhlman. So you can find us on goteamreal.com. We also have a podcast as well called the Sprint Profit podcast. And we have episodes that come out every week. And if you want to email me, know anything more, we've got some free training on the website as well. But if you're just interested in just understanding a little bit more about your business and how we can help, you can actually email me direct at kirsty@goteamreal.com.
Very nice. So the links will be in the description. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Bye-bye. Have a great day. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to press the like button if you like this interview. If you have any questions or comments, then leave them down below and subscribe to our channel. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.